I'm James Bridle. I'm a writer, an artist and journalist, and we're here at Bold Tendencies, which is a rooftop bar in Peckham in South London, and an art space where I've built this installation for the summer called the Right to Flight. A lot of my work is trying to make visible networked objects. We don't all need to understand how everything works all the time. Sometimes it's useful that it just works. But equally, to be kind of meaningfully and politically engaged in the world around us, we need strong defining metaphors for this stuff that we can actually use as part of our discussions. In the contemporary world, when we live surrounded by the internet and surrounded by networks, and these things pervade everywhere, we don't actually see them or think about them as objects very often, which makes it really hard to discuss them and have meaningful debates about them and critique them, particularly when they're involved in politics or the military. The Right to Flight takes its name from a book published in 1850 by one of my heroes, a guy called Nadar. It was about how it was kind of mankind's destiny to take to the skies and how it would liberate us from the kind of chains of earthly society and with the end to all wars and the end to borders. And it was this incredible utopia that we generated by ballooning. I started using balloons for photographing protests. So one of the first things I'm putting on the balloon is actually not a camera but a Wi-Fi network. It's a thing called Occupy Here, as a way for people in a very small local area to all connect with each other, kind of anonymously, and share files and information. I have a particular thing about the London skyline. I'm sort of fascinated by it. The right to flight's also embodied in the kind of the right to height. One of the things I want to do is fly the balloon to over 1,000 feet, which will make it technically the highest structure in London and higher than the Shard, which it kind of faces down across the city. The Drone Shadow's just won Graphic Design of the Year at the Design Museum Design of the Year Awards. The military drone, strangely invisible object. Went out into the street and drew like a one-to-one outline of it, kind of silhouette of this object. As soon as you do that, it suddenly makes it more visible in a way that allows you to have a discussion about it, which simply didn't seem to be possible before. And one of the points about the Drone Shadows is it's also a project that I've opened up for anyone else to do. So you can go onto the web and you can download an instruction book on how to do this. Other people have drawn them all over the world in places that I wouldn't go to, and also in contexts that I wouldn't necessarily draw them. So addressing kind of different issues that can all be addressed through the same approach. The project I've got on the Digital Revolution show at the Barbican is a project called Dronestagram. There's an entire war going on that's waged with the kind of absolute pinnacle of our technology, and that we can't see it. And one of the most powerful things for me is kind of digital maps, where you can take out your phone and see through satellites, which is like a superpower. It's incredible. The Bureau is an organisation based in the UK that researches the covert drone war. Very little is known about what happens. I was reading their reports of drone strikes and being fascinated by the wealth of information they'd collected, but again, finding it difficult to visualise. So I brought those things together. Every time the Bureau reports a drone strike in one of these covert wars, I go and find that location on digital maps, and I simply take that landscape and I post it back to those social media. The kind of social and personal networks that we use every day are built on the same technologies. They run on the same kind of infrastructure. One of them's tuned towards a kind of secrecy, and the other one is tuned towards this kind of openness. And how we tune those is up to us. These things aren't neutral. They're neither good nor bad, and certainly never neutral. It's up to us what we choose to use them for.